on the News Hour debate tonight, question is pretty simple. Why are we always a target? KC Singh is joining us. Ajit Doval, former Director of the Intelligence Bureau, will be joining our panel today. Majid Memon of the NCP Senior Advocate is with us. G. Parthasarathy, former High Commissioner to Pakistan, General Jaswal, and Maroof Raza. This seems extremely familiar, Maroof, to begin with you. It is a crowded spot. It is a very, very soft target. It has been also, now I'm hearing here before, that this particular spot has been recceed. There were reports that this Dilkush, this Dilkush Nagar area had been recceed by people close to the Indian Mujahideen in 2012, and this was done on the instruction of Riaz Bhatkal of the Indian Mujahideen. This is the information that we got from an earlier case which the Delhi police was actually tracking. So it is a place which, according to available information, has been recceed by Indian Mujahideen terrorists. Now, we are not saying here that the Indian Mujahideen has carried out this blast. That is for the police to say. What we are saying is that this particular area has been openly recceed. And despite that, there is absolutely no terror infrastructure, anti-terror infrastructure in the spot, Maroof. Absolutely nothing.
Well, Arnab, I would kind of go along with you because there are three interesting facts about Hyderabad which must link up with this case. The first is that in October last year, the police arrested a gentleman called Syed Maqbool, who is one of the bomb-making instructors of the Indian Mujahideen. And apparently he had links with the bombs that were found in Pune. And the other 4 people arrested in the Pune blast were claimed that he had instructed them on how to make bombs with diesel and firecracker and certain urea and other explosives. The second point which I want to bring out is that Hyderabad has in the past been the playground and battlefield between both Hindu terror and Muslim terror groups. For instance, after the Mecca Masjid blast, in the words of Shishir Gupta, who's written the authoritative book on Indian Mujahideen, the intelligence agencies were running around like headless chicken till such time the CBI homed on to Swami Asimanand. And Swami Asimanand in turn gave the name of 2 other guys, Samandar and Tejram, who were linked with the Mecca Masjid blast. But a few months later in 2007, Riaz Bhatkal used Hyderabad once again to get even on the Hindu hardline group. So it's become a battleground of sorts in the past. Now, 3 other points which I would like to bring to you and the audience's notice. One, the intelligence agencies, the government in India are averse to using intellectual pluralism. They are averse to using inputs from other experts and civil society groups. They want to only hear what they want to hear. So like in Britain, how they counter mass terror by a program called Project Griffin, where citizens, civil society groups and experts are involved in regularly creating a blueprint and a master plan for city security. Indians, intelligence and police agencies couldn't be bothered. The second thing is the policeman on the street, the beat policeman, he is still walking around with a stick. He has no idea how to respond to situations which go beyond waving his lathi. So you're not equipping him, you're not training him, you're putting all the fancy gadgets in your command center where the chief minister walks in and feels good that yes, Hyderabad is safe till another bomb blast happens. And the most important thing is we are not involving citizens to keep the police and intelligence agencies alert of unusual happenings. To avoid terror attacks, there is a thumb rule all over the world which is followed. Decrease the number of targets. Make all possible target areas possibly invulnerable if you can, by making more police presence, by putting CCTVs, by putting quick reaction teams. But we are not bothered. The citizens' life count for nothing with this government or past governments. All that they are interested in is VIP security.
Well, the point here is, and my greatest point on concern is that I have the official information which came in, Mr. Parthasarathy, I'd like to come to you on this, where I have this special cell information of the Delhi police, which is dated the 26th of October 2012, when they put out the release that an IED trainer, improvised explosive device trainer, has been held in the Pune blast case. At that point of time, the special cell of the Delhi police had sort of busted an Indian Mujahideen module, and therefore 4 people who had been arrested as part of that. Syed Firoz Imran Khan, Asad Khan, and the 4th name was Langde Irfan Mustafa. These were all 4 men between the ages of 30, 31, 33 and 38 years old. And after these arrests, when the sustained interrogation happened, it emerged that these people had been hiding in Hyderabad, some to avoid arrest, and in that area bomb making training was carried out, and certain areas recce was done. Now we hear that in 2012 Makbul helped Imran in doing a recce of Dilkush Nagar, Begum Bazar and Abids in Hyderabad on a motorcycle. This is the most critical part. This place where the blast has happened, this place has been recceed by the Indian Mujahideen. We have the information as recently as October 2012 that this area has been recceed by the Indian Mujahideen on the instruction of Riaz Bhatkal. So it has been a sitting duck of a target for a long time. And despite this blood is spilled, Mr. Parthasarathi. Despite this happens.
Arnab, it is this Makbul that I was referring to.
Yeah, I get.
Bomb training instructor for the Pune blast.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying, Maruf. And this is the point which needs to be highlighted today. We can politicize it, and there are unfortunately some people who want to just simply look at it from a political lens. My question is simply this. Mr. Parthasarathi, the Indian Mujahideen has recceed this spot today where 20 people are killed and 50 injured. And there's not a CCTV camera which is functioning in the spot.
Aruna, before I get to what you have asked, let me give you something of the macro picture. I think we should be very careful in characterizing terrorism in religious terms as Muslim terrorism or Hindu terrorism. Please, for God's sake, no religion sanctifies terrorism, and in a pluralistic country like ours, we shouldn't do it. More so because I know, and I'm talking authoritatively on this, our friends across the border, their primary aim is to upset communal harmony, and Hyderabad is a communally sensitive place. Now, coming to this incident, let me say there have been a series of incidents where no charge sheet has yet been filed in court. 2006, the Mumbai train blasts where 209 people died. 2007, Samjhauta, our NIA says something, and the Americans and the UN say something else. Then 2008, in the case of Mumbai, apart from the Pakistani attackers, one person was acquitted. Then the Pune blast, of which you're saying so much, nobody has been convicted, though there is a lot of evidence, we are told. The Jama Masjid attack. So we are a soft target for terrorism. Our neighbor wants to exploit this for communal purposes, and we should be careful not to let him succeed. Now on this question, I know Ajit Doval is here. You had said earlier that why is it the IB is needed, they fail so often. The problem with the IB is they can never advertise their successes. Please believe me, it's a very professional organization, and for every blast which gets through the sieve, there are dozens which they sort of preempt and cannot be publicized. So all I'm saying is, yes, we do have problems in sharing of intelligence between the central organization and the states. There is a blame game going on. I wish we had the National Counter-Terrorism Center, which we don't have, due to center-state differences. Now, I think let's give this time. I have no doubt that this has been done by those who are out to spoil communal harmony.
I'm fine. I'm with you.
We'll have to wait and see.
No, I'm with you. It is. But what have the politicians done? The politicians have made terror into a very useful debating point. They simply want to debate about it.
That you should ask the...
No, I will ask the politicians.
You should ask the politicians.
I certainly... Today I will not ask. But I assure you, today is not appropriate to ask the politicians why they have. But everyone in this country knows.
Like KC,
no, everyone...
All that people like KC or Ajit and I can do is to offer you an expert opinion. All I am saying is, bear in mind, despite all this talk of dosti and pyar and mohabbat and inviting prime ministers for cricket matches, the terror infrastructure and those determined to create disrupt communal harmony in our country still remain active.
I'm totally with you, but the point is also states cannot escape blame when it comes to intelligence gathering. the same politicians don't seem to be accountable enough to the people when terror strikes. Their attitude seems to be, Mr. Doval, that it's too much to expect every terror strike to be acted on. And that largely stems from the fact that you don't need to create an effective anti-terror infrastructure in the country, because the moment terror strikes, then the first and easy thing to do is make it political football between the Congress and the BJP on the color of terror, which is the most ridiculous debate which both parties heartily engage in. My question is this, sir, what about the intelligence gathering? In this particular case, we are told that this Dilkush Nagar area, Mr. Doval, has been wrecked by at least one terror group. At least one terror group has wrecked this area. And yet today, there have been two blasts within 2 seconds of each other, within 200 or 300, 400 meters of each other, in the most crowded time, and also, you know, very strategically placed in such a way there could possibly have been a stampede and even greater casualties. So obviously people knew that this is a target, but nobody cared enough to do anything about it.
You know, as far as the general characteristic of a target selection is concerned, let me tell you that there could be any number of places which are as vulnerable and as crowded, and at this point of hour would be highly vulnerable. More important point as I look at it is, Hyderabad has been known as a place where large number of people, the terrorists from both within the country and outside, have been taking shelter, not engaging in incidents so much, but had been passing on information, communication centers, even the explosives passing on from there. No major action has been done in this area for disrupting
Why no major action has been done?
No, I'll come to that. Let me recount the peculiarities of the situation.
Okay.
Second is, what the Home Minister has said is very, very significant. He said that the 2 days back also they got the information. Again, they were getting it. Even today morning they got some information. It means it was not a spot intelligence, it was a trail intelligence. Now, trail intelligence means that you have got infiltration into the group. You are getting information from time to time, may not be about the entire group, but maybe that a particular strand, either a man who is providing the explosives, or the man who was providing the communications, or the intelligence or something. Now, the important point, at what point of time the intervention should take by the state. And since the information was being passed on to the state, the matter was left to them. Whereas, I think the point which has been made by Partha very well, and I totally endorse it,
what
this
do you mean
was
by
that the
matter left to them,
NCTC should have been there. Center should have intervened.
No, so
if
what
the center 2 days back thought and was having a trail, why did it not intervene by say 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock today to see that it is intercepted? Now, once you interrupt and intervention is there, then the incident doesn't take place. Not that all the people are arrested or something, but something happens, and therefore I consider that the failure of the decisive executive action before time, and that probably by the center, and that is where the NCTC becomes extremely important. Without NCTC, it will not be possible, and the states will never be in a position to take these actions. That is the second thing. And thirdly, which I feel, that it's a very, very carefully planned operation. Not only that there was a synchronization of the two bombs, not only that the places were selected very carefully, but also it is politically a significant day when the parliament was in session. So if what Mr. Partha says, that there was an intention to give a message to the center, then probably maybe that there may be some external agencies which might have been...
No, you have thrown it rightly back to the politicians. You have rightly thrown it back to the politicians, because there is information which is coming, this is very important, from a former director of the Intelligence Bureau who says that when information is coming over a period of time, KC Singh, it is up to the politicians on whether they need to act. Now, Ajit Doval raises two important points. Yes. One, he says that the trail of information suggests that the information was there back and forth and it could have been escalated. That's what you're saying. That this information could have been escalated back to the center. They could have sent the NIA yesterday and stopped it if they wanted. And
exactly.
And they did not do that.
That's it. Intervention should have been done on the basis of available inputs, and it should have been foiled.
No, but now they say that there was no specific information. I have never seen a terror attack, Mr. Doval, after which I have heard any police official or government official admit that there was, there was specific information available. Now, what you're saying with me is your professional judgment that you believe this trail information was available, it required action.
When there's a sequence, that is there's a group, 2 days back you got the information, yesterday you got the information, today morning you got the information. It means that something is happening and you are getting a feedback on that. You are getting reported about it. It means there is a space for you to intervene at some point of time where you can foil it. Either you will get to know the area, or you will get to know the people, or you will get to know the device, or you will get to know the frequencies or the telephone numbers. If nothing else, for example, you are able to reach nowhere, and there is a communication going on in interview and say, we have come to know your plan. And this is the place, this thing that we are jamming it. Now you will find that they will disperse.
No, but what are they sitting as sitting ducks? You know, they're making the people of Hyderabad into some kind of sitting ducks, because what we can confirm here, KC Singh.
The problem is, I think,
yeah,
our system is not working properly. And the system is the failure. It's totally at fault.
I don't know if Shinde is in charge of the system, what Mr. Shinde is trying to do, because the bottom line is this. Even if we put 2 and 2 together, KC Singh, you don't have to be a sleuth. There is information, there could be attacks. Attacks happen in sensitive areas, crowded places. You know that this particular market area is a target. It has been recceed in the past. You know it is in the Hyatt of Hyderabad. It is a sitting duck of a target out there. You have the information. All that you do in your bureaucratic manner is to send a letter to all the state police, please be careful. And you do nothing. You do nothing after that. How irresponsible is that, KC Singh?
Arnab, yeah.